I wonder how many of you in this great and wonderful county that I've called home for the past 17 years were ever told to go home when we raised an issue. My wife was told to go home about 16 years ago because we wanted to put some swings for little children into a park near our home. My wife explained that when we lived in Queens, she took our two older children who are sitting right here, and she took them to the park, and she met people of all faiths, of all nationalities. And she explained how nice the little pocket park was in Queens, and that she wanted something like that here. And when she was done, somebody yelled out from the audience, "Go back home to Queens." I don't look like Aaron Weeder. If I took this off, I look like any one of you. We could go have a cheeseburger at the local restaurant. So I can hide if I want to, and I can hide from the anti-Semitism. I felt it when I was a kid, growing up in Brooklyn. When we moved into a mixed neighborhood, some of the people, maybe they were Italian, maybe they were Irish, would taunt me. I would have to walk with my bicycle chain on Halloween because I didn't want rocks thrown at me, forget about eggs. And then I put this on, right? And all of a sudden, what am I? Now all of a sudden, I'm a religious person. I put on my shirt, my white shirt that I wear on Shabbos. Still,
We listen to you.
Rockland County's a great place. And when I put on my white shirt, nobody calls me names. Sometimes they'll say, "You're welcome in my neighborhood. I just don't like those people. You're not one of those people." I wonder who they mean when they say, "You're not one of those people." And then I put this on. Everybody knows what this is? This is my Becker show. This is what I put on Shabbos, right? Put this on Shabbos to go to shul. Guess what else I put on? Put on my black hat. Right? Now what am I? You know what I am? I'm a guy who 6 times in the past 17 years has been called a dirty fucking Jew or told to go back home. And that's what's happened to me. This is my personal story. Okay? This is my personal story. And when I hear somebody say...
You're going to be removed.
And when I hear somebody say that Hasidim practice a perverted form of Judaism, to me, that's anti-Semitic. Maybe it's not anti-Semitic to the Irish people in the room, but I'll tell you what. It's a good thing we brought up Ireland. Do you know who called Catholics in Ireland a perverted form of Christianity? The Protestants. They've been doing it for 400 or 600 years. It's documentable. Why did the Protestants call the Catholics perversions? Was it because they loved the Catholics? Probably not. The time of troubles for all the Irish people in the room and anybody who knows history will answer that question. The point I'm trying to make is an important one. We can debate the issues. We can debate the issue of overdevelopment. There are plenty of Jews who are against overdevelopment. There are plenty of Orthodox Jews, many of my friends who are against overdevelopment. But that's not what we're debating here. We're not debating overdevelopment. We are debating the other things that are said about our community. That's what we're debating here. We can debate. Excuse me.
All right, I'm going to end it.
We can debate overdevelopment till we're blue in the face. And one other thing that you need to know, by the way, I think Ed Day has failed all of you, and I'll explain to you why. It's been 6 years that he has been the county executive of this county. The legislature doesn't control the inspectors that are under the executive's purview. They don't control that. The county executive does. And guess how many projects, whether it's in Ramapo or Clarkstown or Orangetown, that the county executive has been able to end? The answer is none of them, and I'll explain to you why. The county legislature and county government in general has absolutely nothing to do with zoning. Zoning is a local issue. This legislature cannot pass a single law affecting zoning. They won't tell you that, but they know the truth. The truth is that zoning is local. The state of New York created the rules that the towns and the villages within those towns control their local zoning. That's why you won't see any high development in Clarkstown, because the residents of Clarkstown don't want high development, except for one property right across the street from here. Right across the street from here is the Sane building that the Republicans want to sell. And you know what they want to put on it? They want to put on it 70 units of dense housing. But they won't tell you that. Okay, just wait until it happens, and then you'll say, oh, Itamar Yeger was correct. You can say what you want, but I know because I've seen the plans. Now, when we talk about protecting our properties, I agree. I'd love to protect my property. I pay a lot of taxes. I pay $18,000 a year in taxes. And you know what? When they tell you that we're taking money from the school district, let me explain to you something. Since we have moved up here 17 years, I have paid just about $150,000 to the school district. So have many of you paid to your school districts. In addition, we have 3 children. I sent my 3 children to private schools. It costs about $12,000 between education and busing to send a kid to public school. Just my family alone, 36 school years of not sending kids to public school, saved the state and local taxpayers close to $500,000. That's just Itamar Yeger, okay? So when they say we're taking money from the schools for busing, 30,000 school-age kids in the East Ramapo Central School District send their children to private schools. It's estimated that we save the state and local taxpayers $500 million a year. And that's billion with a B.
Okay.
You can laugh if you want, but the numbers, you can laugh. And you know what? If you don't care about the facts, that's fine. It's up to you, but it is not a lie. If we sent our kids to public school, there are 40,000 school-age children in public school in Rockland County and 30,000 in private school. Think about how much money you are paying in taxes for your school district, and then think about what would happen if 30,000 extra kids needed to be educated. That's what we're saving. Now, I'd like to talk about something that Legislator Santulli said, because when she's finished with about her group of people who hide behind a perverted version of Judaism, I'm not sure where she's getting her information on Judaism about. I don't pretend to be an expert on Catholicism. For example, when they sent 3 nails, I thought it would be 4 because you have 4 limbs. I learned later that apparently, according to Christianity, I didn't know. I didn't know. I can tell you that I'm not educated on Christian theology, and I didn't know that it was 3 nails and not 4. I just didn't know. Now, I don't know why it's insulting that I don't know about somebody else's religion any more than Legislator Santulli knows about mine. Now, I will say this. She went on to say what happens, right, who reproduce at unsustainable numbers. So let's hear what a grand rabbi said about large families, okay? Referring to his time in certain third world countries, he said it would give him consolation and hope to see so many large families who welcome children as a true gift of God. And another quote, I've heard it said that families with many children and the birth of many children are among the causes of poverty. It seems to me a simplistic opinion. That grand rabbi is Legislator Santulli's grand rabbi. It's Pope Francis, the current Pope of Christianity. Here's another of Legislator Santulli's grand rabbis, Pope Pius XII. Large families are the most splendid flower beds in the garden of the church. Happiness flowers in them, and sanctity ripens in favorable soil. And that's fine. I'm not lecturing to use that, sir. Now, my
He's
point
gotta go.
is that what we are talking about here is important. The conversation should be had. You're in the wrong place to have it because the legislature cannot do anything that you're asking it to do. They just can't. Even if we wanted to stop the building in Ramapo, we can't do that legally. It's not the way the state of New York set up the system. If you want to protect your zoning in Clarkstown, make sure you elect people in Clarkstown who aren't going to allow dense housing. If you want to stop housing in Ramapo, you have to figure out a way to elect people in Ramapo who won't put up dense housing. And that's fine if you, it's good that you're laughing because we all know here that that's probably less likely than possible. But the bottom line is that you can't stop it. All you can do is have a dialogue about it, and I'm happy to have that dialogue. And let me say this to you. For whatever reason, the Hasidic community is looked upon as leeches, as people who just take and take and take and never give. So I'd like to tell you a little bit about this community. That's fine. I'd like to tell you a little bit about this community. Their health centers serve 3, 4, 5 times as many non-Jewish people as Jewish. Their volunteer ambulance service has saved dozens and dozens of lives over the years since it's been formed. They do so much for the community, and so much, they're also one of the largest employers in Rockland County. Some of their companies are the largest employers of people in Rockland County, and not just Jews, but everybody. The services that they need provide many people in Rockland County with jobs. Those are the facts. I know I'm not going to change many of your minds, and maybe none. I can't answer that, but those things need to be said to the greater world outside. We are not a drag on the local economy. And we live here, we work here. We raise our children here. We love our children as much as you love yours. Thank you.